Hello and welcome. Let's begin with our virtual housekeeping. Mute your mic when you're not speaking. Please have your video turned on at all times. If you want to be anonymous and keep your video off, you're more than welcome to do so. Please use your headset if possible, especially if you're in a crowded and noisy area. To ask a question, use raise hand button. Usually you will find this button on your Zoom control bar. Alternatively, you can use the chat box and ask your question as well. For high resolution of this video stream on Zoom, use the switch to share content button on top left of your screen. With the experience that we had with Zoom, the legibility of text presented in the presentation is much clearer on a screen size of 12 inch or above. So we will appreciate to use, if you use the 12 inch or above screen size for a legible text which you would be able to read through. Hello and welcome to you all. My name is Vishal and we will begin our book club right away. I believe I'm audible. Let me see at the my signals out here, and I get a thumbs up that yes, that the signals are going fine and we are audible. We are live streaming today as well for our APMP book club, which is on the LinkedIn as well as on Facebook. So welcome to you all on LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course on YouTube. Welcome to you all. We are studying APMP Book of Knowledge. This is the guiding book or best practices book that is for Association of Proposal Management and Professionals. So those who are in the bid industry, those who are, despite their domain, they are more than welcome to do this certification, and of course come and join us and get their certification. As far as your host is concerned, my name is Vishal and I am already APMP Foundation certified. We'll begin our book club right away. Okay, so this is our session number 4th. Okay, I will keep looking away from the screen, and do pardon me when I'm doing so for the reason because I'm looking at the other screens as well, just to make sure that there are attendees who are getting, if they ask for any questions in LinkedIn or perhaps on Facebook or YouTube, they get a response. So these are the 7 knowledge areas. We will for the benefit of people who have joined in for the first time, we will just run through them once, and then at the end we will summarize them, and we will finish the understanding business development cycle today. That's the target. So these are the content from the APMP as far as the understanding the business development life cycle is concerned. People who are already there out in the field, who are doing sales, these names would be synonym for them, would be relatable to them, and there's nothing new. But what is this book doing? It is putting forward the best practices out there by which organizations win projects and repeatedly win projects, win bids. Now, primarily, it has been found out for solution companies who are involved. It has been thought most of the times that APMP is only for the people who are in solutions industry, for example, IT or ITES, or maybe pre-sales to some extent. However, we had numerous discussions, and if you go on to APMP India chapter, there was a discussion out there where the APMP itself is being used in many other domains. The concepts of APMP bidding cycle is still being used in many other industries, and as things are going on, it's one of the de facto certification required. And if people in US are bidding for the GSA orders, tenders, which is the government orders, they call them GSA, and if those are the federal tenders, and similar kind of requirements are there in Australia, Canada, and New Zealand as well. So they go by some other names, but more or less they use the same fundamentals. So these are in the life cycle of a business development. We have market identification. If a company is starting from scratch, they will do that. Or if a company is already established, let's say in one domain, and they want to go into another domain, they will do a market identification. They will go out and search how they can place themselves in the market. Then they will do accounting, planning, and positioning. So accounting is not the accounting of paper, money, and all. It's about the accounting as far as which are the key players, which can be my biggest customers, who can give me repeat orders, and whose customer, and these customers are giving me their goals and objectives are actually aligning with the company that I am working for. So on and so forth. We saw those already. We are at number 3 at the moment. Then it calls the opportunity assessment. Now this is one of the leads. In other terms, in daily discussion, you can say you got a lead. Now how you want to turn that lead around. It comes to opportunity or capture planning. Then your proposal, how you're going to put your proposal forward. Then of course your proposal development, how you're going to develop your proposal. Very critical stage, number 6. At times the people start, their faith in their proposal starts wavering, and at times what happens is you start rewriting your proposal from the scratch midway, once you have already decided everything, after getting all the inputs that you want to rewrite your proposal, maybe rewrite your executive summary, and it leads to a lot of wasted man hours on a proposal, and at times a very weak proposal as well. So the companies who are into this, most of the companies do bids. There's no company out there which is not doing bids. I think every commercial company is doing bids. So they need to be very stringent with this process. Once they have decided how they have to do it, let it go through. That's the development. It's like execution of your proposal. Then negotiation and post summary, that is when you do your submission. Then you need to do some negotiation. That is the key point wherein you get that is the key step wherein you get to know what your customer. That's where the rubber hits the road, as they say. So the customer comes back to you queries. They ask you queries. You reply them with answers. Maybe they say, okay, I feel that this line item, as far as commercial is concerned, is too high. And you go back to them, no, sir, it is not high, because we are, technically speaking, we are giving you perhaps an additional feature over here, which the customer might not be requiring. So you might want to take that off. And as far as the industries that are aligned towards statutory requirements, for them it's very easy to do the number 7, because if the statutory requirement has to be met, it's very simple. You give what the statutory requirements are concerned. For example, if you're a fire integrator, fire systems integrator, it's a minimum requirement set in the code. You do the minimum requirement and you put forward your technical and a commercial proposal. Similarly, if it comes to the DoD or Department of Defense tender, also they're very straightforward, and every nut and bolt is spelled out in their requirement what they want. So that is how it is. And of course, once you have done and won the project, your delivery and your ongoing customer relationship should as well be going. So we will just go through these slides. We have already gone through them just to the benefit of the people who have joined in for the first time today, and as a refresher for us as well. So a company starts from an unknown position in their business development life cycle. Now their unknown position can also be an unknown position in terms of a new solution that they want to bring up in the market. They have established themselves, let's say in IT enabled services. Now they want to start doing software development, or they want to start giving rack servers, or they want to go into solution management for their customers. So if they want to do that, it's an unknown position for them. They will start. It's in the early stage of the development, and they would like to start looking for what are the potential customers. Now, once they have done that, they know the using their brand and marketing messaging in the early sales strategies. They come up with a known position. You've done some marketing. Your sales rep, on foot sales rep, has gone in the market. They have found out, and they have put a word for your company. Now at least your company is known, okay, known to your customer. Now that's your known position. Now improved position is you build a relationship with, let's say you know that ideally speaking, you will build a relation with a customer who has a better financial record and a better payout, and of course that's the major reason. Second, they are open to innovation as well. That's the critical criteria these days. Innovation is something that is beating the traditional ways of doing things, and that is the norm going forward. And then it comes to the favored position. You have made your mark in the market, you have a name. Now you need to sustain that favored position. You know the hot buttons of your customer. You can build a case study for them, and then you get repeat cycles. It is at this position where you start getting repeat cycles. So that's the overall section, or the overall. These are some definitions that we saw, read. And as far as the proposal development is concerned, it's required that a disciplined approach is used in the work environment. As far as the proposal life cycle is concerned, every organization should have their a business process or business development life cycle defined. Usually if you have an ISO certified organization, they will have this, because ISO is one of the, they ask you for the 9001, I'm sorry, I should specify that. 9001, if you have a 9001, they will have the context of the organization very clearly specified with the goals of the organization and what you will be doing for your customers. Then we talked about the whole sales cycle. I mean, you find an opportunity, you do your market identification, you do your account planning, then you assess the opportunity, wherein and wherever there is the transaction happening from one phase to another phase, there would be a decision gate. Okay, now you do your opportunity, then you do the market identification and account planning. When you move from this phase to this phase, the latter part of the book, the APMP book, would be discussing all the tools and techniques which you can use to have this account planning, and of course those decision gates we will be, and of course the tools as well to be used. So we will see them as we go along. Then you do opportunity assessment, and of course the management reviews and management buyout is required in each phase of it, because at the end of the day they are the one who are setting up the goals, and they are the one who has to validate, even if they want to use they want to make sure that the whole organization is moving in one place. The management buyout is very important, and of course their review is as well important. And later on it's better also to have the management agreement into it, just not to give them the benefit of plausible deniability at the later stage. So they cannot come back to you one fine day, and when you start doing planning, because a lot of resources starts going into these two phases, and of course these phases as well. Maybe market identification and account planning will, if it's a very small market that you want to do, maybe a general knowledge of that market. You have been in that place for maybe 10-20 years, you know that market already, so maybe that money will not go in there. But the moment you get into these phases, the money starts going in, and the management should not come back to you and say, hey guys, you never took our permission, or for that matter you never ran this thing to us. So that's where a senior management review is as well required, and that is a part of the decision gates and decision points. And of course, it builds up your sales funnel and so on and so forth. Here's where you're doing your submittal. So that's the whole cycle of your business development life cycle. That's how it goes. Okay, so let me go to the next one quickly. So and this is how we saw the market identification. The existing, all the organization would like to would try to move from this position into the fourth quadrant, or the at least wherein they are they can bring a new product. Of course, the pursuit indication is very weak, but there would be, since they have built up a repo in the market, they can go ahead and start planning and doing certain new things, and they can, of course, they need to put more resources. So they are in playing field now. They have established themselves. Then we talked about in the market identification how they do it. I mean, in other words, we gave an example of the step number 1 in the whole cycle is wherein you see that your organization is doing spices very well. So they will start trading spices, and then they come to know, okay, we have established ourselves in spices. Just an example. It's just an example that I'm sharing with you. And one fine day, the organization thinks that, okay, let's go into dry fruit as well. So they start selling dry fruits as well. So that's the whole the whole process. Very small and simple example. Then account planning is not the money that this guy is getting is counting up. But its account planning is that which account, as in which organization or which sector. A sector, market sector can also be an account. An organization, your customer organization can also be an account. And of course, a certain individual can also be an account for your organization. Okay, so then your opportunity assessment. Now here is where you see, now you have 3 opportunities in front of you. Now which door to open of these 3 opportunities? Let's ignore that last door on the rightmost side. I hear on Zoom somebody wants to ask a question. I hear some mics being unmuted. Okay. So now, so before you opening these doors of the opportunity assessment, you need to assess the whole opportunity. Is there an incumbent on this opportunity? Somebody is already there maybe. Okay. What has been this guy's performance? Who are the known competitors? Besides this, somebody is already giving, let's take a very small example of the bathing soap. So a new organization wants to come out and they want to sell a bathing soap, new bathing soap. Now they would be looking at, and they want to sell to an account, let's say a hospital, an hospital account, whereas this hospital is one of the major hospital, biggest hospital in the region, and they have a lot of chains out there, and they know if they start selling their soap over here, they can sell to the whole nation. So what they do is they see if who is an incumbent in the opportunity already, who is already selling them. Of course, the hospital without a soap is impossible, literally impossible, because they need it for sanitization and many other for cleanliness as well. So you go over there, you find out if there's anybody over there, and of course how they have been performing. Are they addressing the hot buttons? Are they addressing the client's requirement? It's a very small example that I'm giving you. We can go a bigger example like an MRI scanning machine as well. Okay, but let's start with the soap. So who all are the competitors out there? Okay, you might want to go for that as well. And you see what are these competitors trying to do and to get into that market again, to that customer, that account. And then you see your qualification as well as an organization, not as an individual. Can we win? Can we deliver profitability, of course, to the customer? What are our do we need to do this work? Do we need to tie up with another organization. Maybe in the soap that they are using at the moment, it had some certain kind of Ayurvedic properties, let's say. They have some herbal properties in it, and your organization does not do that. So you need to find that as well out, and tie up with another organization who can do this for you. The foremost question, will bidding this opportunity better position us for future opportunities as an organization? Will it, the 4 quadrants that we saw, in those 4 quadrants, how it's going to improve ourselves? That is the whole business life cycle we are talking about. And foremost and the most important part, does this opportunity fit within our strategic plan and vision? So that's a very important point. Usually, and it happens with the smaller organizations where the decision is literally flat, coming up from one place only. There would be one of my earlier bosses used to say it's like a taxi driver mode. So a taxi driver is always, no disrespect to a taxi driver in the first place, so a taxi driver is always on the hunt. Even if you're walking on a sideway and you don't want a taxi, they will just honk at you and check it with you if you want a ride. So they're always eager to get another ride. They have 8 hours of shift. They want, in that 8 hour of shift, they want to make maximum trips and get maximum money, make maximum money. So, and they are very fidgety at times. So they, to make maximum money, they will cut through streets, cut through lanes, and take shortcuts and whatnot, and stop at wrong lanes as well at times. So just giving an example of that. So usually, if you're not sticking the opportunity that you want to sell, if it is not within the strategic plan and vision, then the commitment from the management may not come to you for the resources allocation. So and everything requires resources as well. When it comes to bidding a project as well, you need resources. You need people out there who can build up your build up, in a layman term, quotation, and of course you can build your proposal, technical as well as commercial, and the whole bit of it. So going back to the next domain, opportunity capture or planning. Now, once this is not an the way we are discussing, it's not a logical sequence that APMP prescribes, but it's a strategic way of looking at your business, okay, and building up your business case. So that's where all it goes. And when you have the opportunity, you start capturing the plan. And there are 4 C's that you should be looking at. That is your customer, your competition, your cost, and your company and solution. So whenever the opportunity presents itself, you want to make sure that you gain the basic understanding of the customer situation. What is the customer looking for? Okay, their hot buttons, their issues, their biases, very important. Maybe they are biased towards a certain organization, or certain organization that works in a certain way. Maybe it's in their strategy written that they want to give an order always to a family-owned business. Very prevalent in the United States and the other parts of the industry, the world as well. They have, especially the organizations who are built up as a family business, they try to trade as much as possible with a family-owned business as well. You will find this very common in the US. Then you need to very carefully look at your competition as well. And then, of course, the cost, your history of pricing. Now, if you have not bid to this organization before, and you have been bidding for quite a while, you have gone through the technical phase, you have passed through the technical phase, and you are not going through the commercial phase, then or the negotiation phase for that matter, you need to look out for that sweet spot of your price to win analysis. You need to do that price to win analysis as compared to you. Look up your database, look at your competitor, at what price did they give. Usually if it's an open tender and a federal tender, you will have an organization will actually publish at what price they have given this tender. So next time you come across the same opportunity, you can use it. Company and solution. So from the perspective of the customer, now as an organization who wants to offer a solution, we are all upbeat. We want to give as best solution as possible, and we want to sell our solutions. But we also need to look at the eyes of the customer. How do they look at us? Do they have that faith in us? Do we check mark all their boxes wherein they have about the qualifications? This can be technical qualifications, statutory qualifications, and of course the execution capability qualifications as well. And then of course your portfolio management as well. So that's all goes in the capturing. APMP has a certification for this as well, but we will talk like that for some other day. With this, and your overall cycle, if you see the capture planning, you get an input, you pursue a decision, you have been given the decision from your management, who is asking you to go ahead and do the pursue this decision. You build a relationship, you gather and analyze the data, you develop and implement strategies, and then you do your then you transition into the proposal planning and all. So this is an ongoing process. So opportunity process is an ongoing process. What are the outputs out of it? It's the approved opportunity and your capture plan, your interim bid no bid decision that comes from the higher up, and it has an approval from all the stakeholders. There would always be a guy in the organization who would be all pumped up to do a bid, irrespective of the organization having those qualifications or not. Now, and this needs to be weighed differently in different organizations. You need to look for your own organization, how it works for you. Now, about the proposal planning. Now, once you have the bid decision, you have the inputs. There are the 5 key proposal planning activities. You get all the data that you had from the previous capture opportunity. Once you have those capture details with you, you bring them in and you try to start building up. Now, first thing is not the one that you do your executive summary, but you should have at least the first draft. And then you keep refining your solution and your price to win. And you engage the right staff now for the proposal team and secure the right executive support as well. That's very, very critical. Now, your staff it's very loose term over here where it says right staff. How do you qualify it? People who have the domain knowledge, people who knows the customer is a part of this right staff as well. People in the organization who have worked with them before at the execution stage is also a right staff. So you might want to take all these people and engage them for the proposal planning. What needs to be written, what needs to be written where, and how it needs to be presented to the customer. And of course, holding a proposal kickoff meeting. Now, these things sounds very stringent at times, but trust me, these things helps a lot. Try them 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and you will see that you will have more people will just keep walking up to you and start giving you suggestions, provided you have those resources to have these kickoff meetings. And of course, you have those resources as a bid manager to give them your team members the work. You have those team members to do the execute the work for you. Okay, so that's the proposal planning. Once you do the proposal planning, then you start developing. Now, this is a very critical stage wherein you should stop doing all experiments now. Okay, now as we go along, we will be looking at the compliance tracking tools. There will be checklist. response matrices, and then you have to given it to your you need to maybe an organization wherein you need to do a technical writing. Perhaps you're building a bid from the scratch. You have never bid this before. It happens most of the times in solution bidding, wherein you have softwares or the IT enabled services involved. So you might want to do all those assessments. Here all the experiments should stop. You have a plan, you need to stick to it, and you need to gun ahead and make sure that you bid, develop your develop your proposal for submission. Now once you have done that submission, you submit. Okay, now at this time the rubber hits the road. You have a document, you have discussed a lot with your customer, you try to understand their key points, where at what point will they be where at what is their give me just one moment please. So what is the places, or what are their key issues, what are their hot buttons, and this try to you are trying to you put up a proposal to the customer. The customer will look up the proposal, they will have their questions, they will be asking you questions post bid, and you need to optimize and make sure respectfully that you respond to your customer, no matter how naive that question is, or how novice that question sounds, because it's a part of the negotiation. Maybe that's a question which is very obvious to you, the answer is very obvious to you, but from the viewpoint of the customer, they need a clarity. Perhaps there's double checking how you answer such kind of questions. Okay, so with that we come to the last slide, that is the delivery and ongoing relationship. So once you have done everything, you have done the negotiation, you got the order, congratulations, you have a party, and now the time comes to delivery. Now at this time you need to pass on all the information to your delivery team, which usually would be in terms of software development, would be the software developer guys. In terms of IT enabled services, it would be your configuration guys who are going to write the configuration. In terms of fire systems industry, it would be your project teams who's going to put all those pipes and fittings and all out there, all those fancy things out there, and build up your system, and of course collect the money from the organization, from the customer. So, and of course how efficiently and they execute the contract, it all that makes it the selling point for your next contract. And without saying that, if you in a very small example, if you buy an iPhone, it's helping you out, it's working fine for you, it's very intuitive for you. The next time you might, even besides it being very expensive, next time you will also go for an iPhone. So that's the end of this that's the end of this knowledge area. Next session we will be quickly running through the whole slides again, and we will be seeing some do's and don'ts of this knowledge area. There are some do's and don'ts, and then we will be as well having a quiz. This time around also we don't have a quiz because we have covered very less, and being a non-technical or a sales oriented, we don't have much of a questions. And as far as in an APMP is concerned, you will have scenario based question like the one that we did in our session number 2. So if there is any questions out there, let me just have a look at the LinkedIn and thing, and of course on Facebook, no questions. We don't have questions on Zoom as well. If anybody wants to, on Zoom, if anybody wants to ask a question, they're more than welcome to unmute themselves and go for it. Okay, I think we are all good. With that, we come to the end of our session. You have been a very awesome audience. Thank you for joining in. This is Vishal signing off for this week. See you next week. Goodbye.